Our program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us.
VOP TV. Now, you have...
Well, hello and welcome to the Midday News on Voice of the People Television. I am David Edwin. First, the headlines. Pat Utomi slams Tinubu's Assent to 2026 Electoral Act. APC warns opposition over misleading Tinubu Assent claims. ICPC takes El-Rufai into custody. Jigawa, Lagos, Sokoto, top voter registration. Ondo Monarch killed by bandits. Minister calls on soldiers to intensify anti-bandit operations. And the world of business, Nigeria's forex reserves soar to $48.5 billion, highest since 2013. In sports, Super Eagles Eric Chell seeks $130,000 to stay as Nigeria's coach. In entertainment, Drake hits 300 Spotify hits, over 100 million. And now the news in full. Political economist Pat Utomi has criticized President Bola Tinubu's signing of the Electoral Act 2026 amended, calling it a direct confrontation between political elites and Nigerians. On X, Utomi described the move as a dangerous turning point for the country's democracy and accused leaders in both the executive and legislature of undermining the future of young Nigerians. He added that the struggle for democracy in Nigeria has effectively been reversed. The amendment has also drawn strong reactions from opposition parties and civil society groups who say it sets back Nigeria's democratic development. They argue it legalizes electoral manipulation and weakens safeguards ahead of the 2027 general elections. In the meantime, the All Progressive Congress has warned opposition parties against spreading misleading narratives over President Bola Tinubu's assent to the amended Electoral Act 2026. The party said governance transcends emotion and should not be reduced to digital propaganda and orchestrated hysteria. Lagos APC spokesperson Sheye Oladejo described the opposition's reaction as disappointing and misleading, particularly their claims about real-time transmission models. He noted that in other democracies where similar systems were tested, technological glitches, legal ambiguities, cybersecurity risk, and judicial reversal were reported. Oladejo stressed that President Tinubu's assent followed proper constitutional processes, legislative debate, and institutional consultation. The APC urged that public sentiment should not be weaponized, emphasizing that democracy thrives on credibility and strong institutions. While opposition is vital, he said it must not descend into distortion. In another development, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission has taken former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai into custody over corruption allegations. He was arrested on Wednesday night shortly after being released from the custody of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. ICPC spokesperson John O'Day confirmed that El-Rufai is being questioned over allegations linked to his time in office. The former governor had been with the EFCC since Monday after honoring an invitation to respond to corruption claims against his administration. Still in the news, the Independent National Electoral Commission says more than 1.2 million Nigerians have completed registration in the second phase of the ongoing continued voter registration exercise as of February the 13th, 2026. In an update posted on its X handle, INEC said 1,228,648 eligible voters had completed the process by week 6, up from 884,737 recorded in the end of week 5. Of the total, 673,124 began with online pre-registration, while 555,524 completed registration at designated centers. Jigawa leads with 98,698 registrants, followed by Lagos, Sokoto, and Kano State. The exercise continues nationwide except in the Federal Capital Territory, where it is suspended ahead of the February 21st area council election in line with Electoral Act. Elsewhere, the monarch of Agami community in Akure North local government area of Ondo State, Oba Kehinde Faludun, has reportedly been killed by suspected bandits. Police say the traditional ruler was attacked on Wednesday evening after gunmen stormed his palace in an attempted abduction. He was killed while resisting the attack. Around 10 armed men were said to have carried out the assault. In a statement today, the Ondo State Police Command confirmed the incident and said an investigation is underway. Spokesperson Abayomi Jimo added that efforts are ongoing to track down and arrest the suspects. And to some security matters, the Minister of Defense, Christopher Musa, has directed troops of Operation Fasten Yaman to sustain pressure on bandits and terrorists in Zamfara State. He gave the charge during an operational assessment visit to the task force headquarters in Gusau. Addressing the troops, the minister commended their resilience and urged them not to allow criminal groups any respite. Musa said the visit was to review the security situation, access ongoing operations, and strengthen coordination with other security agencies. Moving on, the Nigerian Army has announced a nationwide verification and screening exercise for children of fallen personnel under its education sponsorship program for the 2025-2026 academic session. In a notice posted on its official X handle, the Army said the exercise will take place across the 6 geopolitical zones from February and March 2026. Applicants have been advised to come with all required documents for the screening. You're still watching the media news right here on Voice of the People Television. We'll go straight to the analysis segment of the news. And joining us now to make sense of these stories and more in the studio with us is Mr. Dele Fanimo, a seasoned reporter and also a public and political affairs analyst and commentator. Mr. Fanimo, a very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, David.
Also joining us virtually is Ihenosa Omwaka, a public and political affairs analyst and development communication expert. Well, we understand that Mr. Ihenosa is not joined us yet, but let's start off from the studio. Well, Mr. Fanimo, interesting and sharing news, if you ask me, is coming from the Nigerian Army announcing the nationwide verification screening exercise for children of fallen personnel under the educational sponsorship program for 2025-2026 academic session. Looking at these developments, they've also said that this verification clearly will take place across all 6 geopolitical zones. But looking at these particular developments, one would say it's a cheering news, owing to the fact that fallen heroes are no more, and supposedly they are the breadwinners of the family, and this again should help alleviate the suffering of the family. What do you make of this particular news? And do you think going forward it would have a major impact on the children of the fallen heroes?
You see, what the Nigerian government is doing to soldiers, either fallen or still serving, it's not novel. It should be given. As a matter of fact, it's a given in some other crimes. In America, soldiers with their badge are given place of honor. If you go to a supermarket and there's a very long queue, if you flash your badge, they know it's like an emergency situation. They clear the way for you to buy. And it is not the same amount you pay for those groceries and all that, because they know that this is somebody that has laid down his life for you to live.
There's some level of subsidy for them.
Yes. That's why wherever they are, they think of America first. And they're ready to lay down their lives for America because they know it's not a conjecture. They know that America will be there for them even when they are gone.
Now, I like the
their
fact
family.
I like the fact that you've actually brought in this part of the welfare of the Nigerian army. We've seen over time, videos circulating on both social media and, of course, even the ones that the army has debunked, where serving military officials clearly talk about their welfare. And this is appalling, if you ask me personally. But on the part of the government, how can they do better so that this level of welfare will not only just be improved, but would be a motivation for the ones serving? Because you recall that this is an educational sponsorship on the part of the army. So should that funding on that particular sector not come, it means the children of the fallen heroes might possibly not be getting quality education because their fathers have lost their life.
You see, most of the time, my father was once in the barracks.
Okay.
So I understand some of these things. You see, most of the time, if you arrest some hardened criminals, what you get is some of them are likely to be sons and daughters of ex-military officers who had lived in the barracks, and so are emboldened to the point that commission of crime is not anything to him or her. That is why once you attain the age of 18 in the barracks, you're not supposed to live with your family. You're not supposed to live in the barracks if you're a civilian. You know, just to curb some of these things. So, but if sons and daughters of military officers who had voluntarily laid down his life for others to survive are well taken care of, we have more than enough resources to take care of this set of people. And such should also be extended to the police, because they also are more at risk. You know how many policemen that are killed on monthly basis in this country? And in fact, that of the Army, Navy, and Air Force is even better than that of the police.
Relatively better.
Yes, and I'll tell you why. You can be killed in battle as a soldier. They won't send your family out of the barracks immediately.
Okay.
But in the police, as a matter of fact, the day a policeman dies, the person who wants to, or the persons who wants to take over that particular allocation is already waiting. They are already jostling. And in most cases, as they are taking the corpse to his hometown with their uniform vehicle, that lorry,
right,
they are also packing their family and their property. And that ends let me give a pathetic situation that happened in Delta State sometimes about 5 years ago. There was this woman whose husband, a police officer, was killed by armed robbers. And it was the the colleagues of this policeman that contributed to buy coffin and some other essentials for his burial. Now, the wife is entitled to immediate money for the burial, but it never came at that time. Now, his other emoluments, Tamila emoluments, this woman was shuttling between, the thing happened in Warri. The woman was shuttling between Warri and Asaba. On this fateful day, when she got a signal that she should come and sign in Asaba, she went to that particular police station, and it coincided with when the DPO was coming to Asaba for the Monday briefing of the commissioner of police in that state.
Okay.
On their way, they were accosted by armed robbers. This woman was shot dead. The DPO was shot dead, and even the orderly of the DPO and the driver. Now, if that woman had been paid, does she need to be coming back and forth? Somebody who lays. So these are issues that will not make people in uniform as patriotic as they ought to be, because there is no fallback position. Now that the military is taking up some of these things, I think what we should say now is to encourage them to do more, so that whoever is coming up to say, I want to enlist in the army, I want to enlist in the Navy and Air Force, right, or I want to enlist in the police, will know that even when he's throwing his life at those who may want to take his life,
he knows
there is a fallback position.
All right, then. I understand that our virtual guest has joined the conversation, and let's bring him in and, of course, establish communication. A very good afternoon to you, Mr. Henose Omoka, public political affairs analyst and, of course, development communication expert. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me? Good afternoon, viewers.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you so very much for joining the conversation. All right, then we're going to start. I'm still going to, continue the conversation from where our studio analyst did pick off. The conversation about the Nigerian Army announcing a nationwide verification and screening exercise for children of fallen personnel under its educational sponsorship program for the 2025-2026 academic session is what we're talking about right now. Now, I want to have your view about the fact that as it stands, does the Nigerian Army truly deserve much more than they are getting presently, particularly on the part of her personnel who give their life in the battlefield?
It's first and foremost, what I would say is that it's a commendable move by the leadership of the Nigerian Army. I think it's an initiative of the leadership of the Nigerian Army, not necessarily the federal government. So I want to commend them for even sustaining it, because it didn't start under the tenure of this present Chief of Army Staff. Right. It's something that's been running before now. So it's a commendable move. But the question that some of us who have families, friends in the Nigerian Army or in the military cycles that we're asking, most of these people that are being killed are not even married people. The numbers of soldiers that I know personally that have been killed in the last 2 weeks in the different theaters of wars of crisis that is ongoing in Nigeria, especially in the Northeast, are young people who are not even married. Young soldiers, either those who are just commissioned, that are captains, below captains like lieutenants. On the other rank, you have privates, you have last corporals that are not married. So when these people die, it's a closed chapter for the family members. The most painful part, the most painful thing that is happening that the army itself is not addressing is that most times, most of these families don't have information about the whereabouts of their family members. I have a friend who is missing presently. His unit was ambushed in Borno State in last 2 weeks. Some of his colleagues already, everybody know that they are dead, but him in particular, nobody know if he's alive, if he has been captured by the insurgents or not. You understand? And there's no information whatsoever from the hierarchy of the Nigerian Army. They just kept mute. You understand? They are not informing the public through the mainstream media or even the social media channels. They are not even informing family members what's happening with with members of their families who are fighting these wars. So that is it. So this social welfare that they are doing is not even the key thing. The key thing is that young men and women who joined the Nigerian army in their early careers are being killed daily, and nothing is being done about them.
It's interesting you mentioned this part, and I want to find out from you, what would you attribute to the killing of this young Nigerian armed forces? Because you would recall as well that the Minister of Defense, I'm talking about Christopher Musa, did speak to the Operation Fasan Yaman team and asking them to sustain the pressure on bandits and terrorists in Zamfara State, a situation that has become seriously unbearable.
So for someone like me who have friends, family members in the Nigerian army, and who also I have interest in studying what's happening with the Nigerian security sector. What is happening is that the series of ambush that have happened in the last 1 month, especially against the members of the Nigerian army, it shows that the strategy is not working. So it's as if the insurgents have better strategy against the Nigerian security, the Nigerian army itself. You understand? You hear about ambush today, tomorrow you hear about ambush. You understand? It's as if the soldiers are the one bringing the battle to the soldiers and not the other way around. You understand? And it's unfortunate because we are losing the numbers of soldiers that have died alone in this year. I don't think we lost that amount of soldiers even during the time of the Civil War.
All right, then, Mr. Hennessy, we'd like to prefer a solution on the analysis segment of the news. Let's say, for instance, you have the privilege of talking to the president. What would you say should be done to stop this unbearable killing?
So what I feel is should be done is that enough is not being done in terms of strategy on the part of the Nigerian army. They need to change strategy. They don't need to wait for children or for a village to be ransacked before they go after these insurgents. You understand? They should improve on intelligence and they gather intelligence and know where these bandits are. Take the battle to them. You don't need to wait for these insurgents to carry out attacks before you go after them.
All right, then let me bring this
them even before they carry out any attack. So I just think that's the strategy they should be able to implement.
All right, then let me bring this conversation back to the studio, and we'll still talk in security. Interestingly and sadly, though, Mr. Fanimo, the Monarch of Agami community in Akure North local government area from those states was killed by this suspected bandits, as it were, because this is what the report is saying. Obakende Falodun, of course, was going to be abducted, but I mean, whatever happened in the mix, he lost his life. How can we break to the barest minimum this level of incessant killing of Nigerians? Because it's coming down to the West, and a lot of persons are saying this is something that has come to stay with us. How much can be done to reduce this level of killing? And of course, maybe help security do better in our villages and the cities, as it were.
It's quite unfortunate that that incident happened close to my hometown. That place, that settlement is called Agamu.
Okay.
Community. And the name of the traditional ruler is Oba Falodun. Now, this is not the first time around that axis that bandits will strike. That community is not far from Iluabu, where the former SGF, now a traditional ruler, Oba Olufalai, come from. Oba Olufalai's settlement had been assaulted about 3 times in the last 10 years.
Wow.
By bandits. And there are other communities that have been attacked around that axis too. The question you ask yourself is, who is then safe if a traditional ruler will be killed in his domain? Somebody came on air here, was it last week or so, that the third thief can't even access his ancestral palace, that he has to take refuge in another place. for how long are we going to remain like this and keep quiet?
And to think that the service chiefs have been changed.
You see, the point I want to make here is that let everybody bear arms. Whatever the degree. If somebody is coming to your house and he knows that you have a pump action rifle that has between 10 and 12 rounds, and is coming with AK-47 with one single magazine of 30 rounds,
yeah,
and he doesn't even know if some other occupant of that house could also have arms too.
Well, Mr.
He would
Fanimo,
think twice before
if
assaulting you.
everybody bear arms, wouldn't that lead to more anarchy in the land?
Why should it be anarchy?
You think there will be some restrictive measures on the part of bandits?
There will be some measure of restriction. Do you know why they keep killing people in Plateau and Benue? It was Buhari that mopped up arms and ammunition in those states. And as soon as those arms were mopped up, those guys were left with only machete.
All right, but well, let me, because of our time, because I hear that we have very limited time now. Mr. Hero, say your position about the incessant killing by these armed bandits in locals where they can barely even defend themselves. Are you there, Mr. Hero?
So my recommendation is just like what the guest analyst in the studio has said, allow Nigerians to bear arms, you understand? Then train and we should focus on training of local security outside the police. Vigilante groups should be armed and trained so that they can also serve as a buffer against these insurgents that are going rampage across the country.
All right, then, but some people would say the police, state policing that was introduced some time back is not seeing the light of the day. What would you think or attribute to the delay of state policing? You think funding might be one of it, like some are saying right now?
There's this issue of trust among the political class that when the state policing is implemented, it will be a tool for those in power to use it against opposition. So I think that's one of the fears that the political class are having, to have the enough political will to ensure that it is implemented. But what Nigerians need is that government should be alive to its responsibility, which is the basic responsibility of protecting lives and property. You understand? So, right, which is what we should be advocating for.
All right, then maybe in 20 seconds, your position with the criticism coming on the part of opposition figures as against the signing of the Electoral Act 2026 amended bill by the president. What's your position with that? 20 seconds. Because
for me, it's already a done deal. The president has signed. It's not a law. You understand? So what we should be focusing on is moving the advocacy to another level, sensitizing Nigerians about their roles in election, the need for people to come out en masse to not only to just vote in election, but first, during this period of registration, people should come out en masse and ensure that they are registered first. And during election, people should ensure that they come out to vote, not just vote, but refuse to collect money, and all those vote buying should be something that Nigerians themselves should be against. You understand? It should not be something that the political people should be driving. Nigerians themselves, the electorate should be sensitized to the extent that they will know that to even take money or to be induced to vote against your conscience is not a civic responsibility. It's against the civic responsibility of any citizen that want the progress of the country.
All right then.
So I think that's where that's the next phase. So because it's already a law, all what has been done has been done. So we need to move to sensitizing Nigerians that we can still change the tide. You understand? People can still come out en masse and vote for who they want, and the vote can be counted.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Yunus. Let me bring it back to the studio. Mr. Fanimo, 20 seconds thereabout. Opposition figures criticizing the fact that the president also is assenting to the bill that, again, was amended. But the interesting part of this conversation is about 1.2 million Nigerians, Mr. Fanimo, have completed their registration with the INEC second phase of registering to vote.
It's quite unfortunate that, like they say, the opposition will have their say, then the powers that be will have their way. And I don't see this thing being reversed, except that it's intentional and sustained agitation for further amendment. In the absence of that, Nigerians were quick to acquiesce and say, well, we have tried our best. If our best is not good enough, let's move on. And that's the unfortunate part of it.
Well, this is where we have to draw anchor on the analysis segment of the Midday News this beautiful afternoon. We've been talking with Mr. Dele Fanimo, seasoned reporter, and of course, public and political affairs analyst and commentator. Thank you so very much for being here.
It's always my pleasure.
Also, a big thank you to you, Mr. Ihonese Omoka, public affairs analyst and development communication expert. Thank you so very much for lending your voice on the Midday News.
Thank you.
All right, then we'll take a very short break right now. When we return, midnight truck crash on Oshodi Apapa kills 2. These and more when we return from this break. Please stay with us. We're glad to have you back. It's still the African News, right? I beg your pardon, Midday News, right here on Voice of the People Television. Now to more stories. Tragedy struck Thursday midnight on the Oshodi Apapa Expressway, Mile 2 axis of Lagos, when 2 fully loaded 40-foot container trucks collided along the Sele inward axis, leaving 2 persons dead. The victims include one of the truck drivers and a suspected street urchin whose presence in the area could not be immediately explained. The impact trapped the driver in the steering compartment, requiring technical extrication by rescue teams. The street urchin's body was recovered from beneath one of the trucks after an intensive search. The operation involved the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, and police officers from the Lassa Division, ensuring safety, evidence preservation, and smooth recovery. The state's Environmental Health Monitoring Unit helped evacuate the victims, allowing traffic to gradually resume along the busy corridor. LATMA handed over the scene to police for a full investigation into the cause of the crash. LATMA General Manager Olalekan Bakari-Oke urged drivers, especially those operating at night, to exercise caution, adhere to speed limits, and follow all safety regulations to prevent such avoidable tragedies. With Ash Wednesday marking the start of the 2026 Lenten season, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has urged citizens to use the 40-day period of fasting and prayer for personal reflection and to pray for the nation as Christians worldwide observe the season. Voice of the People TV's Matthew Oguswada reports.
The 2026 Lenten season has begun today, February 18, with the observance of Ash Wednesday, a solemn day that marks the start of the 40-day period of fasting, prayer, and reflection observed by Christians around the world. Lent commemorates the 40 days Jesus Christ spent fasting and praying in the wilderness, according to biblical account. In Nigeria, First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu marked the occasion in Abuja, urging citizens to use the sacred period to seek God's guidance for the nation. Similarly, the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu encouraged Lagosians to reflect deeply, pray fervently, and uphold the values of love, compassion, unity, and kindness towards one another. Meanwhile, Voice of the People TV spoke with several Nigerians who shared the significance of the day and what the Lenten season means to them.
We have prayed a lot. At least this time around, the two, both the Christian and the Muslim fasting and prayer combined together. we should go to the mosque and go to the church and seek for God's intervention to help us in the country, because everybody is crying. Everybody is crying.
My prayer for Nigeria as a country, as a federation, as a nation is for us to get better. You know, everyone desires this country to be great again. We've heard stories of how this country was one time a great country. So I look forward to this country being a better place for every Nigerian, for every one of us, you know, habitable, free from corruption, and, you know, there's social amenities here and there, wherever it should be, educational opportunities for everyone. So that's my prayer. And for every Nigeria to see themselves equal, that is basically the thing.
Actually, Nigeria need prayers. We need security, because we are not safe in this country. Most important thing is the prayer. God should give us good leader that will understand the youth and the people living inside Nigeria.
Thank you so very much, Machi, for that. As Muslims begin the holy month of Ramadan, religious and political leaders are calling for unity, peace, and national development. Also, Voice of the People TV's Matthew Gunswada has more in this report.
The Nigerian Sultanate Council Advisory Committee on Religious Affairs has confirmed the sighting of the new moon, declaring Wednesday, February 18, 2026, as the first day of Ramadan. In a statement, the Sultan of Sokoto, Said Abubakar III, urged Muslims to use the holy month to pray for peace and against the insecurity affecting parts of the country. Meanwhile, at the 31st pre-Ramadan lecture organized by the University of Lagos Muslim alumni, the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, called on Muslim faithful to embrace good governance, justice, and service to humanity as pathways to spiritual fulfillment and national development. Voice of the People TV spoke to Muslim faithfuls who shared their expectations for the holy month and emphasized the importance of prayer, charity, and unity during Ramadan.
In humanity, so it really have a positive impact in the life of humanity. So Ramadan is very good. A lot of things that it will take off from your life, like waywardness and so on. So the significance of Ramadan is to purify, cleanse, and make someone to think straight, most especially to move closer to the Creator, Almighty Allah. That's the significance of Ramadan.
As Muslims across the country begin their fasting and prayers, many faithful say they will use the holy month of Ramadan to seek spiritual renewal, pray for peace, and strengthen bonds within their communities. Matthew Ogunswada, reporting for Voice of the People Television.
Moving on to other stories, the Lagos state government, alongside health partners, is intensifying efforts to combat malaria and improve tuberculosis diagnosis through innovation, collaboration, and sustainable healthcare financing. The discussion formed the focus of a high-level stakeholders meeting in Lagos, where Praise Peters of Voice of the People TV's report.
Efforts to eliminate malaria and strengthen tuberculosis diagnosis in Lagos State are gaining momentum as government and health stakeholders promote collaboration, data-driven interventions, and sustainable healthcare financing. At a high-level convening, experts noted that although Nigeria's malaria burden remains significant, targeted strategies and digital health solutions can improve diagnosis and treatment outcomes. Health authorities say that interventions will prioritize health burden areas alongside public education to correct misconceptions, including the reminder that not all fevers are malaria-related. Stakeholders also emphasized sustainable financing to strengthen referral systems, reduce out-of-pocket costs, and support primary health care centers.
Today, we also mark an important milestone with the launch of the Tuberculosis Diagnostic Access Program in Lagos State. By leveraging innovative community-level diagnostic solutions and building on the digital infrastructure established through the malaria program, we are taking decisive steps to find missing cases, enable early detection, and strengthen linkage to care. These initiatives not only align with national tuberculosis control priorities, but also advances the broader goals of the renewed hope agenda by expanding access to quality healthcare and strengthening disease surveillance systems across Nigeria. Our focus is not merely on programs, but on building systems that endure, systems that future administrations can scale, strengthen, and sustain. We are not merely reforming the sector, we are redefining the future of healthcare in our state.
Officials say that the long-term goal is to build a digitized health network linking community care with public health facilities, transitioning from donor-funded programs to a state-financed system.
So what we're doing is, the way that the project is designed is that we're working with people that we call PPMVs and CPs. So those are like your local drug sellers, drugstores, mama nurse type of people, as well as pharmacies, because we know that's where people seek care. And we've created an app so that we can basically register patients there and then link them to the formal health system. So by doing that, we're creating a direct digital tool that connects people in the community with the formal health system. We're also working with LASHMA, which is the health insurance agency, to put sustainable funding in for this by using health insurance for the people who are accessing care.
Yeah. And what we have found to be very useful in diagnosing malaria is what we have called the rapid diagnostic test, which is about 98-99% sensitive and specific for malaria, meaning that if the test says you have malaria 98-99 times out of 100 times. And if it says you don't have malaria, you most likely don't even have malaria in the first instance. So we're trying to convince and enlighten our caregivers as well as our people to ensure that they ask to be tested before they have their treatment for malaria or what is suspected to be malaria.
The meeting also featured the unveiling of the End Tuberculosis Now initiative to expand diagnosis access across the state, with optimism that stronger partnerships will improve healthcare outcomes. I'm Praise Peters, reporting for Voice of the People Television.
Thank you so very much, Praise, for that report. Moving on to other stories in the south part of the country. A dispute over park entry tickets in Oredo local government area of Edo State turned deadly, leaving one man dead and prompting a security crackdown. Edo State Special Security Squad recovered firearms abandoned by fleeing suspects, highlighting rising tensions in the area. Our correspondent in Benin City, Rhoda Johnny, has more in this report.
The Edo State Special Security Squad recovered firearms following the killing of a man in Oredo local government area. The operation was intensified on the directive of Governor Monday Pueblo after the incident at Ibokota's estate gates. Arms were seized from an abandoned vehicle at Iriri and the local axis after suspects fled with cartridges from a 9mm pistol recovered at the scene. The Secretary of the Edo State Special Security Squad provided further details on the killing and the ongoing response.
The governor gave a marching order that the assailant must be found. And this is what gave us the premonition to go into town today as early as 6 o'clock. We're in Benin, Metropolis, and we combed the length and breadth of Benin. And God be it, we saw, first in history, a K2 army magazine live in a vehicle that all the occupants fled, but we recovered the vehicle, a Highlander vehicle, and the K2. And we made some arrests as well, and they are giving us intel report to the leading major arrest that we're going to unleash very soon. Going forward, just expect that the town will be calm. We also expect that everyone that is into cultism and all sundry vices should relocate, or they will be found and caught and arrested and prosecuted. And Benin City should go on their normal duties. There is no cause for alarm.
Several suspects have been arrested and security has been strengthened in affected areas as the squad continues efforts to restore order. Brother Johnny, VOP TV News.
Well, thank you so very much, Rhoda, for that report. And from there on, we'll move straight to talking business. Nigeria's foreign exchange reserve has risen to $48.5 billion, the highest level since mid-May 2013, signaling a sustained review of the country's external buffers. According to the Central Bank of Nigeria, this is the strongest reserve position since May 14, 2013, when reserves stood at around $48.51 billion. The rise, which began in late 2025 and continued into 2026, reflects improving forex inflows and tighter liquidity management by the CBN. After years of pressure from oil price swings, capital outflows, and currency management challenges, the growing reserves are strengthening Nigeria's import cover and ability to meet external obligations. And from business, we move straight to talking sports. Malian Nigerian Super Eagles coach Eric Sekochal has reportedly demanded a salary increase from the Nigerian Football Federation as a condition to remain head coach of the Super Eagles. Shell is set to be seeking a $130,000 a month, up from his current $50,000. He signed a 2-year deal with the NFF in January 2025 with an option of an additional year, and was tasked with qualifying Nigeria for the 2026 FIFA World Cup and reaching the final of the 2025 African Cup of Nations. Despite missing those targets, the former Lens defender has formally written to the Federation requesting improved terms. The proposed pay rise is part of a broader 19-point request, a move seen by some as a signal he may be weighing other options. Still talking sports, FIFA President Gianni Infantino has confirmed that all tickets for the 2026 World Cup have sold out. In an interview from Mar-a-Lago in Florida, he said 508 million requests were made in just 4 weeks for 7 million available tickets from more than 200 countries. Infantino estimated the first 48 teams World Cup could generate over $11 billion for FIFA, with all revenue reinvested in football across its 211 member nations. He added that the tournament could boost the U.S. economy by around $30 billion through tourism, catering, and security, which attracts 20 to 30 million visitors and creates 185,000 full-time jobs. And to wrap up the media news, we go straight talking entertainment. Drake has become the first artist in Spotify history to see 300 songs surpass 100 million streams. The milestone was reached after Mine, his collaboration with Beyonce, crossed the 100 million mark. Taylor Swift, Bad Bunny, The Weeknd, and Justin Bieber trailed behind, underscoring Drake's dominance in the streaming era. The achievement reflects both longevity and consistent commercial success, with a catalog packed with some of rap's biggest streaming hits. He also holds the record for the most songs to surpass the 1 billion streams on Spotify. Still talking entertainment, London Fashion Week kicks off today, opening with a tribute to longtime fixture Paul Costello, the Irish-American designer who died last November at age 80, had shown an opening day since the event began in 1984. For 4 decades, his romantic tailoring became a constant through the highs and lows of a fashion week that has recently seen major names shift to Milan, Paris, and New York. Among this season's highlights, British-Nigerian designer Tolu Coker Presenting her elegant, largely unisex design inspired by diverse identities, Harris Reid and Richard Quinn returned to the London catwalk, while Burberry closes the week on Monday evening. And with that entertainment story, we've come to the end of the midday news right here on Voice of the People Television. Do want to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we are at Voice of the People TV, and on all other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. Thank you so very much for being a part of this broadcast. I am David Edwin. You have a good afternoon.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People Television, where your health has a voice.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Apelon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People Television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 20 minutes off, please discuss.